Thank you for joining the May 30th, 2019 VOLTA call. We're planning to do the sprint planning for Sprint 2 of version 2.1 for VOLTA today is our main topic. And just a reminder to everyone that we do record the meetings and post them on YouTube, so please be mindful of that these are public recorded meetings during the discussions and if we have any presentations today. And with that, I think we'll go ahead and get started. So I did collect some feedback in advance of the call. And so I have a few items pre-mapped into Sprint 2. So I'd like to review those. And also, I copied on here, it was not in the email that I sent out previously, but there was also, I received feedback on a number of issues that are under review, and I think they're expected to be closed at least by the end of Sprint 2, but I wanted to check with timing on that, but I may need to wait for some other participants to join. So this is another batch that is, I think, under review right now in Garrett and should be closed out during the process as well. So let me go over to the VOLTA board. And currently, these are the items that I collected from folks for inclusion in Sprint 2. And most of these do have assignees already, and there are a couple with the brigade that I think would be maybe not yet assigned. I see one here. I expect that would come in as resources are available. But these are ones that I think people were planning to work on in this next sprint. So we have a quick review for those on the screen. And then we had just a couple new JIRA issues open up after since our meeting on Tuesday. So probably need to take a quick look to see if either of those are items that would need to be mapped in. And if so, then we can do that as well. And then I think the next step would be to start looking at the defects in the backlog first to see if there are items that need to be prioritized ahead of feature development, perhaps, to get some of these issues resolved. So I'll be looking for feedback from folks on if any of these items need to be addressed in Sprint 2. So any questions or feedback from the group before we start diving into the details? Okay. Hopefully everyone can hear me. I'm not hearing anyone on the bridge, so I'm hoping I'm not talking to myself.
I can hear you.
Oh, good. Okay, thank you. Okay, so let me go over to the new issues. We had 1679 come in. This one, I believe, was triggered by some VOLTA Discuss conversation and then a ticket opened accordingly. So this is flows decomposing correctly in VOLTA 2.0. And then we've got the discussion, the details here with related to the flow direction from the different ports on the OLT device and the ONU device, and a reference also to the demo that was done on May 9th. And let me see if we have any questions from the group that we need to address for this one, or if we have feedback on whether this one should be mapped into Sprint 2.
This one assign that to me. I'll take a look at it.
Thank you, Ken. Oh, missing token. Okay, let's see here. I think it might have, I logged in on another screen. It might, I can't seem to exit here. There we go. Okay. Phew.
Yeah, I think it wants you to log in.
Yeah. And let me just pause my screen for a moment. I logged in on the other screen, but I guess this one, it didn't copy over. It looks like it's back up and running now. Okay.
So one question on this one is,
yes.
Is this being? Oh, my voice is getting low. I sang too much last night. Is this verified using the PONSIM or real device? Do we know?
This is Fahad here. I opened this. It's verified actually in BBSIM and on hardware.
Oh, it would be BBSIM and hardware. Okay, great. Thanks.
Yeah, and both it's the same exact behavior.
Okay, great.
And I had not realized you were on, so thank you for chiming in there. Is there anything else that you'd like to discuss related to this item today?
No.
Okay, thanks. Then the next one I think was opened by Sunny. I'm not sure if Sunny is on the bridge. I don't see Sunny on the bridge. This is on 1.6, so I'm expecting this is not something for us unless it for Sprint 2 for 2.1 unless it carries over and applies to that as well. So this is VOLTHA 1.6 release, cannot communicate with Edge Core VOLT. And this is for an offline SIBA pod installation. Any feedback from the group?
I'll work with Sunny and see whether it does
Okay.
something, you know.
Okay, thanks, Sean.
Because we,
So that,
you know, we have QA testing every day, every night, right? So
yeah.
the only difference, I wonder, so what's the difference? I wonder whether offline SIBA pod installation has something to do with it. But anyway, okay.
Yeah, I suspect it does, but I think probably we need a little more detail or discussion first. Okay, so let me just make sure no other defects came in. That looks like it. So if you go back to the backlog, let me first scroll up. Let me look at the active sprint. So we do have a number of items in our current sprint, Sprint 1, that are still either in progress or to be picked up. So a number of the in progress are under review, so I think those likely will close out by the end of our sprint, which is end of day tomorrow. But I'm expecting that we'll be carrying over these new items, sorry, the to-do items. Most of those would end up going in Sprint 2. So we may want to take a look at those to make sure these are still priority-wise, you make sure these fall ahead of the items that we're mapping in for Sprint 2. So I think we can do that after we see what closes out for Sprint 1, unless there's anything obvious from the group to look at today.
Yeah, I think for example, the 1559, I think that's about 2.6 issue, right? So I'm not sure how Broadcom. I think Sean said, you know, if you can chime in also. I think Broadcom, they said they are not going to fix it in the 2.6, and so I think Sarav is trying to approach to Broadcom again and see whether this thing can be resolved in some way.
Okay.
So that's a CAP status. So I think there's some further investigation need to be
that's
working with the Broadcom.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. And we
So
do
potentially
yeah.
we're not, you know, even if we carry over to the since that's a backlog, shall we? That's a defect. Shall we put in the backlog? Because I don't know whether it can be.
Yeah, this one we have the ticket ID in the comments, but yeah, there's nothing we can do for it right now. I think you're right. Any feedback from other folks, or should we go ahead and put this one into the backlog pending resolution from Broadcom?
Any objection, Girish? Shall we put this in the backlog? Girish is on.
Yeah, no objection from me.
Okay, so we'll go ahead. I'll move this to the backlog then. I'll put that comment in there. And then once we have more feedback from Broadcom, then we can readdress this one.
Is there another one defect also, the 1559? There's a next, I think the two 2 defects, right?
Yeah, there's another one where there's an error deleting a flow. I think Garish has tried some workarounds suggested by Broadcom, but it still ends up with a problem.
Do you know that ticket number offhand? I'm trying to scroll through.
Just give me a moment. I'll try to find it.
Pardon, I'm sorry?
I'll just try to find out.
Okay.
Just give me a moment.
Okay, thanks. Okay, and then I think the VOLTHA charge, those ones should be closed out hopefully by the end of the sprint or shortly thereafter. So let's go. Yes.
I have it. So it's 1568.
1566?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I said it's 1568.
Oh, 68. Thank you. Okay, here we go.
This one doesn't have any fixed version assigned.
so
No, it's
yeah,
in
so that
the
one.
Sprint 2.
Oh, this may be one that I was requested to map into Sprint 2. Okay. Let's see. Garish, since you've been doing some troubleshooting on it and trying things, do you want me to leave it in Sprint 2 for now? See what happens?
I have not heard back from Broadcom yet. They provided some background evidences. I prefer that this also move to backlog and we can pull it in when they have a fix.
Okay. Let me add a comment here as well. Okay, so why don't I move this one back to out of the in progress to the to-do state since it's in the backlog. Is that okay, Garish?
No problem.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, and let me go back to the board then, and I think now we can move on to looking at what we've got in the backlog. So let me scroll down. Oops. And get to the start of the defects in the backlog. Okay, so the first one was the blocker that was there from David, and that one has an assignee. Kent, were you planning to work on this one in the following sprint, in Sprint 2? Or is this later?
It's assigned to me. I am working on it, but I'm working on some other things at the same time. So this is probably going to get pushed back to Sprint 2.
Right, that's what I was looking for, is if I should put in Sprint 2. So let me do that. I'll move it up to the Sprint 2. Thank you. And then we've got a batch here of high priority defects. And so we've got 1628, get rid of default leaf device rules in VOLTHA. Actually,
I think that's done.
I think this one's done. That's what I was going to say. Okay. So can I go ahead and move this one to, let me move it to the current sprint. And it's 1621. Hmm, 1621. Oh, now I can't find it. Okay. So 16.
I'll fix it.
Okay. If you can move 1621 to done. Thank you, Sean. Let me go back to the backlog. So we've got that one. Okay. So we've got 1656 with PONSIM, OF agent reporting incorrect number of ports. Let me ask the group here. Hopefully everyone can see the screen. Is it better to just look at a block of the same priority ones on the screen and then see if there are any of those are candidates, or is it better to go through these one at a time to see if they should be pulled into the sprint too? Any preferences?
Say something, otherwise Julie's going to do one by one. I did that with her yesterday. It's painful.
Okay, so okay, let's see. For 1656 with PONSIM, OF agent reporting incorrect number of ports. Is this one, anyone feel this one needs to be bumped up to the current sprint? My thought at this point is trying to do some defect resolution, especially for items that people view are important to get done maybe in advance of other feature development, anything that's holding up other work, for example. And if they don't go to the scale of needing to be done fairly soon, then I'm not sure if we have the right priority either. So we might want to reassess that. So I'm not hearing any feedback that 1656 should go into the sprint. So let me move down to 1657. OF agent loses connectivity to ONOS. Okay. Yes, Sean?
It's hard to tell for a lot of these because a lot of them we need to kind of look into the root cause, and we won't really know what they affect until we do. A lot of them are very general right now. They're just, hey, here's a high-level error. Something's not working. So it's, I guess it's hard to prioritize.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. So
this,
then I don't know if, since these aren't in progress, I don't know if there are people who have been investigating root cause, or my assumption was root cause was kind of on hold till someone picked up and started looking at the defect, but I could be wrong.
I think the 1657 could be something that similar to what we have in 1.x, because this is really a connection between ONOS and OF agent. So I don't see that as a high priority, but the 1656, that seems like a new thing. So this, I think this one needs to be put in a sprint. Maybe not sprint 1, but sprint 2.
Right. I'm only looking at sprint 2 because sprint 1 wraps up tomorrow. So this is just sprint 2 planning, not picking up work for the next 24 hours or 36, whatever. Okay, so then for 1657, should that be bumped down to a medium priority, do you think? Because this is already there in 1.x, this behavior? Or do we leave it as a high for now?
I'm okay with medium, but maybe we need to... Who reports that? Oh, that's David.
David opened it up, yeah. And I
so
don't see him on the bridge.
I don't see him.
Okay, then make it medium before he says anything.
Okay, so I'll say, drop this down to medium.
But a 1656 should go to the next sprint, right?
I already moved that one up.
Oh, okay.
So it should be there already.
And just for the community, this process may be painful, but it does help the progress of the sprint.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Sharon. Thank you. This is one of those things that the technical discussions are so much more interesting for all of us, but we're kind of behind on some of the bug scrub things and and planning. And I wanted to at least make sure we have a sense of what needs to go in to Sprint 2. So I thank everyone for their participation in this.
So on the 1656, currently has no assignee.
Right.
So Ken, is it something your shop will do, or?
Yes, it's somebody, one of us will do that, because I think what we'll need, this one will need maybe a retest of things, because we have make some minor changes here and there. So it may be one of the fixes that we want in may have fixed that one too. So it needs to be retested and see.
Okay, so I assign it to you, 1656.
Sure, you can do that.
Okay? Yeah.
Yeah, that's all right.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Julia did that.
All right. Then next, 1658, able to create but not delete device. This one, Ken, is already assigned to you. Is this one that you were planning to tackle or hand off to someone in your group in Sprint 2?
I tackled part of it for Sprint 2. There's another aspect of it that will need to be looked at. So
okay.
I'll see if I will need to create another Jira as a follow-up for that. We'll see.
All right. Thank you, Ken. All right. Next one is 1655. OF agent stops attempting to connect to AF router on repeated failures at startup. And this was the last high priority one that we had flagged for 2.1. Any thoughts on this one?
I think the Jira is correct. I think I don't know if it's a high priority in the sense of in terms of work to be done, but in terms of defect, yeah, it's a high priority.
Okay. And do we think we should try to cover in Sprint 2 or target a different sprint?
Maybe we can put it in Sprint 2, and then if we can't get it done there, then we'll move it to Sprint 3.
All right, that sounds good to me. Thank you.
And they were assigned to Ken also?
This one, well, you can assign it to me, and then I'll just assign it to whoever's going to.
You'll be at a single point of contact. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. That's all right.
Yep.
Thank you, Ken. All
and
right.
by the way, I've been talking about this. I think Sienna has done the due diligence on fixing things about these new core. But I think the people, the leaders in the community, we need to understand the core. We need to understand the OF agent. We need to understand the API router. I think that's a new name for the AR. I strongly suggest the whole community. We should gradually start supporting all these efforts also. Thanks, Ken.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So I think part of what Sean's saying there also is an invitation for other members of the community to feel free to take on bug fixes for core related work and kind of share the load. So if anyone wants to volunteer, you can do it either on the call or you can do it afterwards or take something on and assign it to yourself in Jira. That is fine. Okay. Then, so we already talked about this one at the start, bump the priority down. We've got a big batch of medium priority. And so I think, let's see. So we'll take a look at those. And then my view is likely the low priority defects. My expectation is that they would not be candidates right now to include as priority items basically for Sprint 2. If someone picks them up and works on them, that is great. but I was thinking it would be better to tackle the higher priority and the high and medium priorities in Sprint 2, and then people can continue to do cleanup in the background if they have additional cycles. So that's my thought. I'll let anyone else chime in if they have a different view. Okay, then let's take a look at the medium priority defects, see if there are ones that we think should be covered in Sprint 2. Okay, so this was 1674, volta service.getVolta does not return values.
We talked about that on Tuesday,
yeah,
right?
so we talked about that one. David assigned it to himself. Is this one done?
He submitted, I think it's done. He submitted some code.
It's closed.
It merged.
Yeah. Okay, and I don't see any note about an initial or temporary, so okay. Let's go ahead and I'm going to move this to Sprint 1 and then 1674. Sean, can you oh, I might be able to, let me just scroll up. I should be able to get to it from this screen. 1674 is done. Oh, I can't edit on this screen. I thought I could.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah, if you can do that, Sean, that'd be great. Okay, then 1670, when Volta API server stops, OF agent exits to completed state. And this one, Sean, it looks like you'd added a comment here as well. I think we had some discussion on this the other day also. Any views on whether Sprint 2 we should take a look at this?
I think this is some behavior issue, right? So I don't see the urgency, but Ken, sorry I interrupt you.
No. I was going to say the same thing. It's an issue, but it's I don't think it's one of the highest on the list to fix.
Then let's go ahead and move on. 1671, registered adapters remain even if adapter containers are stopped. We had a fair bit of discussion on this the other day as well. So I don't know if we want to try and tackle the this in Sprint 2. I think there's a fair bit of community discussion that still needs to take place.
Yeah, I think that one, it's more like this is pretty much the expected behavior. Mm-hmm. And there was another peak that I believe David was going to have to do like adapter lifecycle management. Right,
and we had on the list for future topics trying to get a deep dive on the let me scroll down so you can see it here or some proposals in there for adapter lifecycle management. So I think probably we leave this in the backlog till we have that discussion, because otherwise we won't know how to proceed. Okay, let's move on to the next one then. 1667, read-write core should generate instance ID if not set.
And you can assign that to me. It's an easy one to fix.
All right. Oh, actually, it's already assigned to you.
Oh, okay. How come it's taking me so much time?
Yeah, maybe David did that before. Should I move this one to Sprint 2 as well?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. And we'll see what we can get fixed and proceed as as best possible. Okay, 1586, possible race condition in OpenOLT Python adapter during ONU discovery. Okay, so this one is Circont on the bridge. I don't see Circont on the bridge. So I think
this is Python adapter, right?
Right,
so
that's
for
what I was going to
OpenOLT.
say. So I think on the community side, we pretty much had stopped work on the OpenOLT Python adapter. But if Circont's going to be working on this, then maybe we can handle that separately. I think probably we don't map it into the sprint unless that's delivered. Any other views or feedback from the group?
No, I think that's the way to approach it, yeah.
And the next one, 1678, mount certificates rather than building them into containers.
Done.
And
Oh,
hopefully everyone can see the description on the right side pane. I'm trying to bring that up every time.
The old one. I am not even sure how 2.0 containers use certificates, so I'd have to really research that.
Okay. And this one, yeah, this one has been open for a while. So it sounds like we can likely leave this in the backlog for now. Zach, if you find something that you think we can address or should address, then let me know if we need to reinvestigate.
So Ken, do we use the certificate or?
I don't think we do currently, but I've seen it like used like haphazard in a couple of places, so I don't think it's consistent.
Okay. So Zach, we'll probably just wait until the ONF start taking in the 2.0, and then right now the version of the VOLTHA on the ONF still 1.6, 1.7, right? So
yeah, and just to give a little over in SIBO, we were looking at this, but this is really focused on how it would get deployed, and just in testing and in development, it seems somewhat unnecessary. So I guess we're trying to wrap around to figure out whether this is something that operators would want or need, because we're not sure exactly of the security model that an operator is going to have for a pod, and whether that's just a VOLTHA or VOLTHA and SIBA, what they're going to actually try to do to secure that pod, whether it's just
that. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I thought
So it's sort of a larger question about that. There's sort of the correctness of this, but also the question of how this is going to get deployed and how much it matters.
So is that, Zach, is that a topic that's going to be discussed kind of within the SIBA context?
Yeah, actually, I have a task. I'm not sure if I've made a JIRA for it of describing like the expected security context and what you'd need to do to secure a system, but I haven't fleshed that out yet. Okay. I can link this to that when that comes out.
That's what I was thinking. Because right now we have this one in 2.1. I think probably because everything that had been 2.0, we moved to 2.1 and so forth. But if this one ends up being one that we need to track with SIBA instead, or if it ends up being one we can close out on our side, depending on what you find out from the discussions, then we'll just try and keep in sync there.
Okay, that sounds fine.
We'll leave that one here for now, and then after there's some more investigation at what needs to be done at the pod level here, then we can see how to deal with that topic. Let's look at 1388 then. So next one, OLT does not come up as open OLT service fails to start. Okay, this one actually is assigned to Shad. And I don't think we have Shad on the bridge.
No.
Okay, so let me just start with polling the group then on this item if we have a sense for whether OLT failed to come up, open OLT service start failed with error. See if this is one we think we should try to address in Sprint 2.
I wonder because ONF, they've been running testing.
Yeah.
And I wonder this actually is no longer an issue.
Yeah, this was from January. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Sean, that'd be great. If we can double check with that, see if this is still an issue, just to confirm we still have the problem. Okay, so I'll leave it in the backlog for now. And 438, clear alarms are not working on the edge core adapter and device. So I think, let me see if we've got, I don't see a MIT on the bridge. I don't know if this is one of the ones that has been ported over to an OpenOLT story. It covers the adapter and the device. And we also have the alarm and PM brigade work going on. Ah, okay. Yeah, this is waiting for the BAL 3.0. Okay. So I think we have to just kind of sync up once the brigade work is done for the migration to BAL 3.0, then we can look at bringing this one in. So I think it's not the right time yet. Any other views? Okay, then 1216, OpenOLT BAL driver bug for downstream flows using same VLAN. And this one is a tracking one for the BAL issue, so I think same as the others till we have some resolution on the BAL issue. Then this is a pretty old
Nick opened this one.
Yeah.
Jason, Juan.
Is Jason on the bridge?
I saw his
Yes, I am.
Yes.
It's a bug against the BAL driver on this one. 1216, the volt 1216.
And here's the CSP number.
Is that something you can double check?
I don't know. I don't know about the driver. I guess that it's about driver. It could be the 2.6.
Right.
Yeah, I guess. So maybe I need to do some test to see what happens. So I don't know what's going on. So it's downstream flow using the same VLAN.
Same VLAN, yeah.
So something behavior is missing. So I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, and this one it looks like we did merge a workaround a while back also.
Okay. Look, I mean, it sounds very similar to 1568, deleting a flow. Or is this adding a flow or deleting a flow?
This is mostly like adding a flow, right? They're using the same VLAN.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess we have a similar one on deleting a flow.
And then it's, the flow cannot be removed and the flow cannot be re-added. So it may be related to that.
So it could be used. It use the VOLTHA 2.0 or 1.x.
Maybe 1.5 or 1.
Yeah, this was open September of last year.
Can someone check on the CSP and see if it was resolved? I think that is that AT&T one.
I'm sending email to it. If I cannot see it, I'm sending email to Jiqing.
Great, thank you, Sean.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll go on, get some status on that CSP, and then for 1516, PONSIM v2 containers stopping puts VOLTHA in an unusable state. And this one, Andy, I think is assigned to you. If you've taken it, oh nope, I don't see Andy.
It's different, Andy.
Yeah, I don't see Andy on the bridge. Okay, so I don't know if he's planning to do this in Sprint 2 or not. Oh, we've got a couple.
First ones.
Yeah, Garrett's open for review. I think since this one appears to be in progress, I'm going to go ahead and put it in the sprint, and then if I'm incorrect, we'll fix that. Okay. So let me go ahead. Sean, can you move 1516 to in progress for me?
Okay.
Okay. And then 1572, OF agent deadline exceeded, so call to VOLTHA call. Sorry, call to VOLTHA core. And then, Ken, I think you were waiting for some feedback from Kailash on this one.
I wanted to know, like, which version of VOLTHA are we talking about?
Okay, so let me just add a comment back there.
And just so you know, Kailash is, I think he's offline for another week or so. So you might not get a response.
Okay.
Oh, no wonder I don't see him yesterday. I was at the office. But again, right, so this is not, if Kailash is working on this one, that's not 2.1, right? That's the 1.x branch.
I would make the same assumption.
Okay. Do you think we still need to ask Kailash to confirm that? Or
let's ask that, but at the same time, I'll leave it in the backlog now.
Okay, yeah. All right. And then this one, vCore stuck in loop due to etcd DNS lookup error. And Sean, it looks like you had a comment here, seeing if this was on 1.6.
It must be.
In the box, and it's another Kailash issue. Yeah. Okay. I think we leave this one in the backlog for now.
This one looks like an ordering problem. I can bring this up with some of the people working in CBO on a box, and we'll see if we can either get to the bottom of this. There are a lot of things that are like little bugs that possibly Andy, Bobby are solved already.
Great. Thanks, Zach. Okay, then next, this is the last one in the medium priorities. Vol 1285, VOLTHA CLI adds a 1 digit to the OLT OF DPID of the logical device. And then I think we had some questions in the comments here on if this was applicable. Sean, you had a question on whether it's applicable to 2.0. And then also to Matt, and I don't think Matt is on the bridge, about whether this has been seen in 2.0 as well. Does anyone on the call know any more about this one? Pardon?
I've not seen that in 2.0. So it's like, maybe that's a 1.x issue.
So Julie, maybe say let's community verify in the 2.0 also. In that case, we'll leave it in the backlog. Well, I feel like I already moved on to 2.0. Sorry, guys, if you're using still using the working on 1. Uh-oh, this is being recorded. Sorry.
Okay, so we'll leave that one in the backlog and then see if we can clean that up, hopefully later on. Okay, so we do have a small number of minor issues. So hopefully those are, or minor defects, hopefully those are categorized correctly. So I've got them highlighted as a block. Are there any particular items that the group wants to look at, or should we move on at this point?
Julie, you know what we can do? Yes. We can take a look at these offline, and then if those, you know, I'm sure they're reported during the one, you know, look at the number, right? It's a 1.x branch. So in that case, Well, we just verify whether the 2.x has the same issue or not.
Okay.
If the 2.x has the same issue, then we carry over. If not, then we just leave it in the backlog.
Okay. Okay. And so, and those are, again, the minor ones that I was not expecting. Many of those would end up in Sprint 2, but if they do, that's great also. Okay, so that brings us through the defects that had been identified so far as for 2.1. And then we do have, as you see, a lot of feature items. If you scroll down, you'll see a lot for 2.1. So a number of these, I think, are being managed by the brigades, and would pull those in, like the Golang OpenOLT adapter or work, for example. So with the brigade work going on, I think probably we let those get pulled in by the people leading the brigade efforts. But I'd like to see if there are other items that folks want to look at here to try and prioritize for work in Sprint 2.
And so, for example, the 1020, I think that's Deutsche Telekom. So I don't know what Amit is. He's not. Okay, he needs this feature.
Yeah, I don't see Amit. I know Bjorn couldn't be here today either. So that one, we'll let DT respond on that one.
Right.
And we do have a number of alarms and then provision parameters coming in. So I don't know if those would kind of be managed by the brigade work going on or not.
I think partially will be brigade, right? And then there's some of them, you know, I do recommend companies and the participant, if you would like to take on this, even, you know, anyway, I would suggest people to, how about this, Julie? What we can do is, you know, this. I'm not sure how many people actually go into the backlog and pick up things in the routine or regular fashion. So I would suggest the community to at least take a look at this backlog, and then they are item marked. As you can see, the gray bar there is the VOLTHA 2.1. Go through that and then see whether some of the tickets can be adopted, right? Those are orphans, require the foster family or something. Need a adoption process to occur. So we have a very good community. I think maybe this is something we can ask the community to do within the next week. Okay. Julie, what do you think?
That's fine with me. Then that might save us some time on this call. I think we still, for some of the older tickets, we keep doing kind of a scrub in the background, trying to clean things up here and there. I think that still needs some more work, but I don't think we want to do that on this call. Let me scroll down a little bit more. Do we have, I don't think we have Kata on. No, okay. So why don't I, as you can see, we have a lot targeted for 2.1. And then I don't think we have all the ones targeted. We may not have all of them targeted yet. So that kind of ends down here at 1048 was the last one. And then we do have the list of future items or ones we were not expecting it. So if anything's wrong there, that's great. But I think if people could focus on the ones we have currently identified with a 2.1 label, just to see if ones need to be brought up into the sprint, that'd be great.
So Julie, I think this is actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to export something from Excel and with a 2.1 filtered, and then I will mail it out to the VOLTHA Discuss.
Okay.
Let's do that today, and then
that's probably easier for folks than going through the backlog like this. Okay, let's do that. Then let me go over then to the release planning slides. So we still have, a lot of info missing kind of on when some of the work's going to start. So we do know that we've got the tech profile work that's going on in the background. Similar to, we have the OpenOLT adapter, the migration to go, bringing that up to parity. And we have a number of sprints identified as the target for that topic and also for the GPON support. So that puts us at a minimum of 4 expected development sprints for this release for those 2 items. I don't know when the other work is going to get started for some of them. I've had some discussions with Matt. We'll figure out a start time for the OpenOMCI enhancement work. He still has some planning to do on that side. And then, so this one, I know we have info coming later. I'm not sure on the EPON support when that work was expected to kick off, and for some of the others as well. So we still are looking for feedback from leads on when the work should be expected to start picking up for specific scope items. And we know some of them are being done with the brigade, like the migration to BAL 3.0. The other items, we still have some uncertainty on who the specific lead will be for some of these items. Like for multiple TCONT support, I know that ONF is planning to lead that effort, but I'm not sure who to go to for the info like I just talked about for sprint planning. I'm not sure if we've identified the lead on the ONF side. Do any of the ONF folks on this call know who that would be, or is that still TBD? I hear nothing, so I think that's still TBD. Okay. And then with the alarms and PM, I know we have the brigade work. I don't know if on the VOLTHA side, if we're going to have a separate lead that I should be coordinating with to get that type of info or not. Any feedback from the group? We don't even have a company identified for who would be planning to lead that, so I'm not clear. Or is anyone working on that brigade know? Zach, do you happen to know?
Is that Andy or Scott? I think Andy is leading the part of VOLTHA FCAPS brigade, right? I think that was Andy.
So this is Scott. I am
leading.
It
was Scott.
Yeah, I'm leading,
Scott. That was you. Yes.
Yeah, pod management and VOLTHA FCAPS. So we do have people that are working on getting some SFP related information. I think that's OnCar at Sterilite is working on that, and then we have someone working on the redfish stuff. So EdgeCore and Sterilite are both working on getting the redfish stuff. Yeah, so that I think that covers, PMs. I don't think we're doing anything with respect to, at least in my brigade, with alarms. I think maybe that would fall maybe more to Zach's work on standardizing alarm formats.
Yeah. And Zach, I think it dropped off the bridge, but it looks like
I'm back. Sorry, I had to. The holiday meant that the schedule in which I have to get my garbage cans to the street changed. So I haven't been focusing on the alarm work recently, but I'll probably end up picking that up in the next couple of weeks. Depending on how. Depending on what the demands are for the SIVA release.
So then on the VOLTHA side then, do we need to have kind of a separate, for the other scope items, we've had a technical lead that coordinates things and kind of identifies the items for the different sprints. Do we need a separate one or someone on the VOLTHA side specifically to kind of address that for these meetings and for our planning purposes, or do we expect that's just going to be handled through the brigade? I kind of feel like I need a contact point specifically on the VOLTHA side to make sure we're getting items mapped in, because it sounds like some of them may not be addressed with the brigade work either. I think some of the brigade work has to go first to get the framework and everything, the format identified.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because there are, there's a lot of SIBA stories that relate to both the alarm and the FCAPS issues, and the SIBA stories we don't cover them in the VOLTHA calls because they're SIBA stories. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know what the normal fix for that, if there should be a corresponding VOLTHA story to the SIBA story, and we should get the people who are working on that into this meeting, or if it's enough for Zach and I to be here and kind of update what's going on in the brigades.
That may work, Scott. If you and Zach are just contact points for me, we have a whole lot of alarm and PM related JIRAs in the backlog, and since we're expecting, that's kind of related to the brigade work, I just wasn't sure whether we need to kind of do the mapping for the VOLTHA tickets here, or just, So Zach, Scott, maybe the three of us can sync up offline and figure out how to better coordinate, because it's a little murky for me on how to coordinate it for the VOLTHA planning. So let's try and have that discussion. We'll do that offline so we don't take up everyone else's time.
Yeah, I think at the very least we should maybe leave comments in the issue saying which VOLTHA task goes with which SIBA task. That would
be great. Yeah,
that would help.
That sounds good. Okay. All right. And then we had a couple other items here that still have TBD for technical team leads as well. So still have a number of gaps to fill on the 2.1 planning side. I'm hoping some of this will be a little more clear as we go on. So I think probably that's all I need to talk about for this part today. If we can get this sorted out on how to coordinate with the related brigade, then I think that will help a lot for planning purposes. Okay, then let me go ahead and I'll go back to let me go back to my agenda. So I'm glad we at least got through a review of a number of the defects to do a little bit of a scrub there. We cleaned up a few that had been done already, so that's good as well. Then this sprint that's kicking off on Monday is targeted for 3 weeks as usual, unless I hear differently, but that's what we talked about for the cadence at the lockdown meeting in Huntsville. So I've kept this at 3 weeks for now. And then also added a note here. This was I added it after I sent out the agenda. I just did that for this morning. So since we've kind of wrapped up or close to wrapping up sprint 1 for 2.1, and also we tagged 2.0, I wanted to check in with the group and see if we're near the point where anyone would like to schedule a demo for some of the work that's been ongoing in the group. See if there's something we can get an update for the group and some visibility for that work. So if you have anything, please let me know so we can get you put into a time slot. Usually it's on a Thursday call, but depending on schedules, we can be flexible there. Sometimes we'll do it on a Tuesday. So keep that in mind. If you have a demo that you would like to present to the group, that would be great. Sean, anything else? Yes.
One thing I did mention yesterday on the email is, I think the VOLTHA 2.0 installation, and then I think it's on the VOLTHA discuss. Sometimes people say, how do I do this? How do I do that? Right? So I wonder whether we can create, using a demo session, using that sort of create a, I wouldn't say tutorial, but at least hands-on demo about, how do we bring up the VOLTHA 2.0, and how do we bring up the adapters. And I think some of them maybe just, okay, run the script, run that script at the same time. I think if the script is available for the community and then other things, then sorry, I'm speaking a language may not be very professional here, but I think create a demo about how exactly in a lab environment, how do we bring up a VOLTA and the adapters and then run and activate a device and then run traffic. I think that may not be a bad idea. We've done that a lot for the VOLTA 1.x, but I think for VOLTA 2.0 base demo, I don't think we have a more comprehensive demo starting from scratch till the traffic is run yet. So I would like to have the community to think about this. Maybe we can put this together, and that will help the newcomers to get some exposure regarding to what they are dealing with. And then I'm not talking about the single standalone VOLTA. I'm talking about the VOLTA in the cluster HA mode. So this is my request to the people very familiar with the 2.x framework and then can bring things up.
Okay, thanks, Sean. Okay, I think that's it for what I have today. So we do have Sprint 1 wrapping up tomorrow. So just a reminder to everyone, if you've got patches out there in Garrett that need review, if you need me to put in some reminders to folks, please let me know so we can try and get that moved along. Otherwise, I have seen some more closing out, but I know we do have a number of reviews out there currently. So I think that's it for today's discussion, unless there are other items from the group. Any other comments from the group or topics for today? Okay, I'll give you a little bit of time back. So I know the bug scrub type of thing in the sprint planning is tedious, but I appreciate everyone's participation. Thank you for that, and I will talk to everyone again soon. And again, we'll be closing out our targeting the end of sprint 1 at the end of tomorrow. So thanks, everyone. I'll go ahead and stop the recording and drop the bridge.